developer admin would look like in a few quarters from now. But I mean, it's going to be massively disruptive from the way we are doing our roles today as Salesforce professionals. A lot of roles would probably be less relevant. A lot of roles would need to be completely revamped with new skills. And a lot of tools that we use on a day-to-day basis uh, are going to be irrelevant, and new tools are going to emerge. So the world is going towards a AI first approach to doing everything, and Salesforce implementations are no different. Pratik and I have been spending a lot of time in analyzing these tools, in seeing where they fit in the life cycle of a Salesforce consultant, developer, admin, as we are building our product, which sort of integrates all of these tools and delivers an end-to-end experience. So I'll just, in about 10-15 minutes, talk about what we think is the landscape, and then hand over to Pratik for a quick demo of the platform, and then we can take some Q&As. We're very happy to give a license to the platform, and the group can decide who gets the license. It's worth about $600, and also a certification voucher for a very interesting research that we have put at the end of the presentation as a challenge to all of you. So with that, I'll just go into my presentation, and if there are questions, I can take it towards the end before I hand over to Pratik. And similarly, when Pratik is doing the demo, if there are questions, we can take it towards the end, just in the interest of time. So I'm just trying to share my screen, but there's something which Google is doing right.
Amit, I will just make you the moderator and present. 1 second.
Is my screen visible now?
Pratik also needs that access, or?
Yes, please. Yeah.
Oh.
Is my slide visible now on the screen?
Yes, yes, Amit.
Okay, are you able? Yeah, okay, perfect.
Great. So, this is my go-to quote these days, that the hottest new programming language is English, and we are seeing it happening all around us, right? And people are no longer having to be confined to building products or implementing sales that they used to do in the past. Past means maybe 6 months ago, and the new paradigm is vibe coding, as a lot of you would have picked up this term. It's basically about interacting with the AI, telling the AI very intimately what you feel like building, getting that response back, and constantly iterating the process. It doesn't require any massive documentation. It doesn't require any deep knowledge of the technology. It doesn't require a lot of skills that you have right now. It requires a deep understanding of what you're trying to achieve, a vibe for what you're trying to build, and the problem that you're trying to solve. And that's really what's the AI native development is all about. It's really integrating all the tools that are available from Salesforce, outside of Salesforce, into different stages of a Salesforce development lifecycle, and solving any problem with an AI first or AI native approach. And it matters because it's going to dramatically speed up the time to market. It is dramatically going to speed up the ROI that we deliver for our organizations or the companies that we are consulting for. And it also enables all of us as professionals to really shine on high value work, and really being able to be released from the repetitive tasks that a lot of us have to do as part of our day-to-day jobs. So vibe coding and the AI first approach is rapidly approaching us. Salesforce, and is probably, I believe, intentionally trying to make it a bit sort of, underplaying it a little bit. It's probably because of the impact it will have on the users, or the impact it will have on the consulting partners. So, but leaving that aside, what does it really take to have the right vibe? And when we talk about the general skills, these are the skills that are going to matter more in the future, rather than our certifications, or our configuration or coding skills as Salesforce professionals. So it needs to be a very system thinking or architectural thinking. It needs to be a very critical, uh, code review and debugging would be most of the focus, and constantly giving feedback to the AI on that till you get it right. So debugging would be one of the key expectations from our roles, and continuous learning and adaptability. Obviously, a lot of curiosity around prompt engineering and a general AI proficiency, and of course AI literacy and data knowledge. So these are the skills which are the horizontal skills that you would need to get the best out of the AI, and in the process delivering the best outcome for the projects that you are working for. If you look at the landscape of AI tools today, there are some of the generalist point solution, the likes of Atlassian, which are sort of building those AI capabilities. And if you look at Salesforce, Salesforce is there in every quadrant. What is probably missing from Salesforce is that end-to-end flow, which we've tried and achieved through our platform. So the generalist point solutions are trying to make our lives with easy. The generalist end-to-end solutions, the likes of OpenAI, for example, there is so much that one can get out of that in our implementation lifecycle through the prompting. And then we have the specialist point solution, which are in the areas of testing, for example. So a lot of you would have seen a few agents coming out from Copado, for example, or other testing tools or other DevOps tools. They are trying to do part of the implementation lifecycle and AI enablement of that lifecycle. And then we have the specialist end-to-end solution. So that quadrant is basically purpose-built AI tools for the Salesforce implementation lifecycle. And we of course have Salesforce there. We have CodeGen there, which is a Salesforce LLM. Companies like Swantide and Elements.cloud and GetGenerative.ai also fits into that quadrant. So the challenge is that there's probably already within a few quarters there are too many tools, and they are very siloed in the value that they are delivering in the life cycle. So just imagine from a discovery session happening and an insight coming out of that, and that flowing to the developer, and the developer needing to build a prompt on top of that. How much of a gap there is between that life cycle, and bridging that really now requires what we are calling a single source of prompts. So like we had the single source of truth and the customer 360, what is the new paradigm is the single source of prompts, so that the discovery session that happened, that knowledge gets captured, gets enhanced, and flows in the shape of the right instruction and prompts at the right time to the right role. Uh, on the disparate pieces of technology front, I mean, there is massive amount of tools coming from Salesforce, and there is still a lot of complexity about what are the licensing prerequisite for these tools, what are the pricing models for these tools, when are they going to be general availability. But the ones which are general availability already are in the area of CodeBuilder, AgentForce for developers, and flows, and CodeAnalyzer. These tools are already general availability, and I'm sure a lot of you would be using it. There are obviously still a lot of complications about the licensing and the pricing models of that. What else is in the pipeline, is ApexGuru, which is really a Apex focused, co-pilot kind of tool, and then the data seeding with AI and the DevOps testing AI tools in that area. So, as I said, while Salesforce is very vocal about AgentForce, they're probably intentionally keeping a lot of other things that is happening on the dev AI, dev tools, AI dev tools for maybe some complicated reasons. So, if you look at the current life cycle from pre-sales to discovery to design to build to test, which all of you would be able to sort of relate to, there's a patchwork of tools. And what we are still seeing is that n- knowledge that is getting created by AI in one silo is then getting passed on to the next silo. There is a lot of handover, there is a lot of duplication. So while you can have best of breed, pre-sales tools with maybe ChatGPT or Perplexity or other tools that are available, what you create, there's no straight through processing of that into the discovery phase, uh, where you're pretty much again starting from scratch based on that. So the prompts or the outcomes that are getting created are not leading to the prompts for the next stage. And then similarly for the design phase, the same complexity happens uh, in the build phase. Again, massive amount of tooling available from Salesforce, but within the Salesforce platform itself, they are in so many disparate places, so many confusing names, so many confusing pricing models and prerequisites. So the challenge that probably this is creating is there is a lot of silos of what tools the pre-sales users or the BA users, how there's probably repetition of that across the life cycle. There's a lot of data privacy and private security risk. Everybody is under the radar, experimenting and using a lot of tool very discreetly. There's still a lot of licensing maze. Just imagine being a company wanting to roll out an end-to-end AI platform. Just look on this and look at the number of different licensing that they would be required to put in place to make it happen. So there's a whole maze of licensing within Salesforce and outside of Salesforce. And then there's a constant loss of context. There's a loss of ROI which happens because of the duplication and rework that we are doing as humans in the process. So what we are how we are trying to solve it is by creating a end-to-end discovery to go live experience where there is a single source of prompt and a platform for collaboration between the humans and the agents. So the single source of truth, the natural language prompting, the AI-driven code generation, finally leading to a accelerated implementation. And we'll show you in a demo how seamlessly things move from a single source of truth to the actual build of the platform. And what we have done is really integrated it with the best of breed project lifecycle and collaboration tools, whether it's GitHub or whether it's Atlassian or whether it's some of the other testing tools. We have integrated it with fit for purpose LLM, but at the same time also giving our clients the option to bring their own LLM. And then, of course, the integration with Salesforce, which is super critical because that's where building and we are deploying. And the Salesforce CodeGen platform as one of the sources of LLM. One, and of course AgentForce for developers and Flows, CodeBuilder, and all the other AI tools that are coming from Salesforce in the pipeline. So it's like a AI sitting on top of the AI, simplifying your licensing, creating a unified flow of work, creating collaboration, and creating a single source of prompts. We moving across the pre-sales agent, discovery agent, design agent, build agent, and testing agent. And what it really allows is a 10 people company can now operate like a 100 people company. We are not displacing any of those roles, but giving them superpowers to really operate like 100 people company. And I'll just take a few questions before Prateek's demo of the product. So happy to take a few questions right now.
Anyone wants to come on mic and want to ask a question, or raise your hand if you want to ask a question?
Can I ask one question? When you say discovery,
Yes, we have someone here in our room.
that's okay. It's okay. Hi, I'm Sri. So one question: when you say discovery, right? You said 10 people would become 100 people, right? To put the knowledge in. It's a mindset, right? Like everybody has their own thought of process, business experience. How would you bring the ideas into the AI? Is it a form of a question, or is it form of a questionnaire, like yes or no kind of thing, or is it because some things are descriptive, right? It is not just yes or no.
Yep.
How would you think that could help the customers?
Yeah, absolutely. So when we are doing the demo, we'll talk about the how the AI is creating your discovery questions, how you can open it up for the clients to answer directly, and how the auto correction happens, where when you get an input from your client, the AI is telling you that these are the gaps in the questions, these are the gaps in the inputs from the client, which you need to go back and have another discovery session with them. So that's how it is solving for it. I mean, when we are doing the demo, it will be hopefully very obvious.
Thank you. Nobody else in the room?
Are you
Yeah.
happy? You are.
I think after the demo, I'll have some questions. So, all right.
Fantastic. If there are no other questions, then I'll just jump into demo. I'm pretty sure there'll be a lot of questions coming at the back of it. So let me share my screen. All right, cool. Can you guys see my screen and our website? Right, I am. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes, Prateek.
Awesome. All right, cool. So now, quickly jumping onto the demo. So for today's demo, what we have done is we have taken an education industry use case, and it's for SaaSGuru itself, where we actually use Salesforce internally to automate an entire life cycle of a learner from a very get-go of sales to end-to-end delivery of your learnings and trainings, and your assessments and quality measures and all those things are tracked on Salesforce. So we've taken that example, and we will see how we take the entire implementation of Salesforce through GetGenerative.ai. It flows through different agents to automate your end-to-end life cycle of Salesforce, as what Amit was talking about. When you log in to GetGenerative.ai, this is your dashboard. You can see all the agents which are live on the platform, starting off with the pre-sales, which focuses on proposal and creating a business case before you incept the project. Once you win the project, then your consultants, business go in deeper discovery with your customers and create deep level requirements in terms of user stories, acceptance criteria, and your technical leads and architects come in play for solutioning those requirements. Then your build agent is where your developers and architects come in and create configuration workbooks, implementation workbooks, and at the end of it, create a code or do configure your Salesforce. Your test agent is helping your testers in automatically creating the test cases to test the application once it goes live. So we'll see how it reads through the user stories and create those test cases for test. Deploy code based to your IDs or the sales technology company, SaaSGuru, and what we have done is we have done a discovery with them. Here are my meeting notes. I've just created them. But the idea is we have enabled a multi-model input on the platform, which means if you have documents, if you have meeting notes, you want to record your voice, you can do all of that. Now, to start a proposal with AI, choose technology, which is Salesforce in our case. Then choose the cloud on which you are implementing. As you can see, we have support for roughly 15 to 20 odd clouds. At the back of each cloud, we have scraped Salesforce help and reference links to create a structured output database, which is completely available with you guys in terms of solutioning your projects, which you will see it in action. For the timing, we'll choose Sales Cloud here. Then industry to personalize your proposal. So in this case, it's education. I'll select that. And this is where you'll input everything you have got from your customer at the back of first level discovery. As you can see, I've copy pasted all the meeting notes. I can do my voice recording. I can even upload the documents which they have provided, and it can be in any format: Word, images, PDF, Excel files, and all those things. So what our system does is it analyzes all the requirements which you have provided, and it can be, as I said, in any format. It understands it, extracts all the functional requirements from those documents. We're not focusing on non-functional requirements like training, like security, and all those things, but it's completely focused on the things you will end up building on the platform as a Salesforce. So as you can see, it has started finding those high-level themes and initiatives you're delivering at the back of project. You can completely edit, modify, enable whatever you want to do here. It's completely flexible with you. So the idea of these themes and initiatives is to tie all the requirements which our agents will generate to the industry best practices of capturing requirements in the form of themes and initiatives, followed by epics, followed by high-level features, user stories, acceptance criteria, low-level solutioning. So this is the inception of your the output which our agents will generate. Next is the key business outcome. Now, as you can see, on the basis of industry, on the basis of cloud you chose, and understanding the functional requirements, these are the benefits the businesses will see at the back of delivery of that project on Salesforce. Again, you can modify, remove, edit, whatever you see here. Next is just simply give a name to your proposal and click next. In the best interest of time, every agent takes between 3 to 5 minutes to generate the outcome. So we have already pre-generated the outcome yesterday, so we can just see that in action here. This is your pre-sales agent dashboard. Let me go back here quickly to show you each and every agent has their respective dashboards as well. So you can use all the agents sequentially through the entire Salesforce lifecycle. But if you're in a different part of your projects, like you're already in a build phase or you're already in a designing phase, you can use those agents directly as well. Right, now going back, I am in the education CRM implementation dashboard where I can see system has automatically generated the executive summary where it talks about customer, high-level project requirements, project challenges, expected outcomes. So as you can see, this is already provided to you by AI after understanding completely understanding the contextual functional requirements which were presented in the documents which you have uploaded. Now, after it has generated, this is completely editable, and that's where human in the loop comes in. You can collaborate with your team members. You can invite them to this proposal, and they can start making the modifications. And when you're modifying, we have further rewrite with AI functions available throughout the application as well. Once you're happy with the summary, next is the scope. Now, scope is a detailed document for exactly what you're trying to deliver. This is more geared towards the techno-functional consultants, architects, and leads who will be solutioning this proposal to present your business case and proposal back to your customers. This will give you a good from the scope where we start solutioning it. So this is where those high-level themes and initiatives we're trying to deliver at the back of this project. Now, these themes are automatically the solution view. Again, this is all done by, but as humans, what we have to do is just come in, review, change, add requirements. You can edit, change everything you see here. Now, after high-level to create a high-level solution as well. Now, this is, again, remember, this is a proposal stage, so we are only focusing on high-level features and 30,000 feet of your project to present the proposal back to your customer. Once we go in the design agent and the build agent, you will see these features are further broken down into user stories and low-level solutioning as well. So in terms of high-level solution, it will try to give you that high-level solution here. Again, whatever it has presented, architectural guidelines and solutioning best practice cloud. So it reads through those has its own expose our that solution reason. And from that solution reason, it picks up these solutions which we have pre-created for you guys. Now, if you want to understand what's happening at the back of each feature, this is, for example, Sales Cloud list. I can also descriptions what is happening here. Right. So that's your solution database, which is completely accessible to you guys. If you want to further get AI recommendations, like you don't know what solutions, you want to make further modifications and you want to get more context, you can just get more AI recommendation, put it in, and it'll give you the features which you can use. You can manually add your own solutions as well. So something which is not standard out of the box, you want to completely customize it, you can just add your own custom solutions too. Plus, if you want to just pick up the platform features, those are available along with the clouds as well. So if I go here, for example, it's showing me customize fields on objects, do a process automation using Flow. So it understands the requirements and it tries to give you the reasoning behind it. Once your solutions across different features, themes, epics are finalized, then you can see all the solutions which you'll be building at the back of this project and the solutions tab, as you can see. Against each solution, you have hours, which gives you development hours to build that solution on the platform. Once your development hours are identified and finalized, Salesforce, our platform will give you a project plan view as well. So this is more in the territory of project managers and delivery leads who are more interested in understanding how many resources are to deliver this project, how long it will take, and what's the actual cost of the project. Next is AI insights. Now, this is where Amit was talking about, and one of the questions came around how it identifies the questions needs to be asked to the customer, and this is where it does it. So it understands the inputs, it creates the output, and it identifies the gap between the two, give you a proposal quality score on the basis of the inputs you have provided, and you can do these discovery sessions with your customer or expose this screen to the customer where they can answer all those inputs as well. Once you have the answers in, you can see all the answers here, and these answers or insights can be used for reprocessing. So if I go back to the solutions, if I am on a particular theme or an epic, I can see what are the new answers I have received from the customer, and I can regenerate a specific section of my proposal as well. So if I hit regenerate, it will start regenerating the features and the high-level solution of this theme only. And you can also see all the previous answers and the insights, whether they have processed or not, in a listed view here as well. So again, AI insights is more of helping you running better discoveries, understanding your requirements, and coming up with the discovery questions in a structured manner. Plus, you can add your own insights as well if you would like. Next is document AI. Now, in a lot of cases, you get documents from your customer, which a business analyst, administrator, or a developer would go in, understand, analyze, and find information from. We have made that process easy as well. So once the document is uploaded on the platform, you can chat with the document to find insights automatically. So as you can see, I have asked questions like how many inside salespeople will be using the system, how many records to be migrated. So it gives you that structured answer, analyze it and contextualize it, and give it to you in a natural language format. So again, a massive time saving in terms of finding those insights from the documents when you're going through it. Last is the metadata AI. So whatever we have seen it seemed like a greenfield implementation, fresh requirements you're trying to build on a Salesforce org. But if you have an existing Salesforce org and you're trying to build your project over that, we can also link everything back to your metadata, which means all we need is username, password, and security token of your org. It takes 30 to 45 minutes to extract all the metadata from your underlying org, summarize each and every metadata. We have only limited it to 50, but we can increase it. As you can see, it has extracted all the flows. Against each flow, it has created a natural language description, what we're trying to do, as well as the technical description. So if you're now in future, if you're trying to do a project on an existing org, you don't have to go into setup and see what's happening. It automatically does it for you. In fact, you can also see the underlying XMLs as well. It doesn't stop here. You can also chat with metadata AI, which means you can ask any questions. It will stitch together all the information it has extracted from your metadata and then give you that process flow. So for example, explain the lead flow. It understood we are using lead object. We have built a couple of lead assignment rules. We have done an HubSpot integration, and we have an opportunity product mapping, which we have done as well. So again, just imagine the amount of time a developer or an admin would spend before building something on the platform to understand how it's going to impact your new requirements. Right. And once you have these insights, you can modify your solutions, modify your effort, understand the complexity inside the org, and then finalize your proposal. And once your proposal is finalized, you can download it in a Word file or a PDF file itself. Right. Now, what we can do is, in the best interest of time, I'll cover all the other agents as well, and we will then open the room for questions. In the meantime, you can keep dropping your messages and questions as well, please. Next is your design agent. Once your pre-sales is finalized, now you are in the design territory, which means you are doing a detailed discovery with your customer and writing your low-level requirements in the form of user stories. So what you can do is you can go to the design agent, start a new project, and you can convert an existing proposal or start a new proposal from scratch, completely up to you. And what system does is it creates a project briefing document, which is more geared towards for your delivery team. Under the, as you can see, in the workspace, we have added an additional layer called user stories view. Against those features, system end up creating those user stories automatically as well. I think somebody was, Calvin was trying to sit for a business analyst certificate. So this is the future of business analysis as well, in terms of, while you understand the nuances, so you can guide the AI system well to generate the outcomes which a business analyst would generate quickly. So if I go to the user stories view, I can see 150 user stories which have been created in a span of 5 minutes. And all you're doing is making sure that you review each and everything, you upload, you modify the acceptance criteria, you tie it back to the themes and Apex automatically. Right. Now, another thing in the workspace view is, or in the design agent, is your Jira integration. So I think roughly 70 to 80% of the businesses use Jira as a project management and a documentation tool. So we have a tighter integration with that. In case you're using something else, you can download everything in an Excel file and upload there as well. And once the integration is in place, you can sync all the user stories back to your Jira account once they're finalized. So that's your design agent. Against each and every user story, as you can see, we have now low-level solutioning as well. So once you have finalized the acceptance criteria, you click on Generate Solution, and system will cloud. And it goes deeper into 6 cells, which I will explain in the build agent. But this is probably the most complex solutions out there in terms of solutioning your Salesforce projects. And this will lay the foundation for the build in terms of generating the code and the configurations you'll be doing on the platform. So that's your design agent, automating your requirements creation, integrating everything back to your project management tools. And we have all the supporting functions like discovery, questions, like document AI, like metadata. Everything is available as part of the design agent as well to support you through the lifecycle. Next is the build agent, as I was talking about. So the build agent goes deeper into understanding your requirements, creating a low-level solution against each user story, as well as at the Epic level. As you can see, this is at the Epic level. And if I go user story, you can see it here as well. And against those user stories, against your low-level solution, it also creates a configuration workbook. And this is, again, done automatically. And now leads and architects are just making sure they're reviewing each and everything, understanding what we're trying to do here, and then just modify if you like. Now, if I go in the configuration work, it's even complex here. So we have, it's tied to a theme and an Epic, what type of configuration it is, what is the category here, in what cloud we are trying to build it, whether it's an existing update on an existing metadata or a new. So it caters for all of those things. It creates the descriptions, and at the back of those descriptions, it creates the developer nodes. So your developer and administrator exactly know what you're trying to build and deliver on the Salesforce as that particular configuration. What we are doing in the next phase is also integrating this platform to all the Salesforce upcoming dev tools, which is AgentForce for developers, AgentForce for admins, CodeGen, which is their proprietary LLM, which is Salesforce's proprietary LLM, CodeAnalyzer, ApexGuru, to generate from those AI instructions the actual code and the configurations which you can push to your Salesforce orgs or the IDEs which you're using. Right. So that's your build agent, generating all the low-level solutions, the configuration workbooks, and generating the code, which you can directly push to your Salesforce ops as well. So that's the future of Salesforce build deployment lifecycle, which is coming with GetGenerative.ai. Next is your test agent. So in test agent, what we are doing is, as I was mentioning earlier, so against in parallel to once your requirements are finalized and your technical leads and architects have finalized the solution, your QAs can come in, create a test against a test plan, what you're scoping, what the test management, and all those things at the back of cases. So we had theme epic user stories. Now these user stories are further, system automatically creates the test cases against those user stories as well. So if I open one of the test case, I can see the title of the test case. It's tied to that theme and epic and the user story. It creates the description, preconditions, what you're testing, and it automatically tries to create the steps which you'll be following as a tester to test that particular application. You can add steps, you can remove. So the idea is system generates 500-600 test cases quickly. And as a QA, you just go and review those test cases. And once you're happy, you can either, if you're using, again, Jira, oh, sorry, I should not have clicked it. But if you're using Jira, it syncs all those test cases against those user stories in Jira, or you can download them in a Excel file as well. It doesn't stop here. We can also do test runs. We can manage defects, everything as a full-fledged test management platform. Right. Next and the last one, which is coming soon, is the support agent. Because we have all the construct in terms of understanding the requirements, creating high-level requirements view, low-level requirements, low-level solutioning, configuration workbooks. We will take that entirety of the engine and we will enable it on your managed services. So a lot of project goes in managed services after the implementation is done, where end users start raising the request, change request. It can be as small as creating a field or a report to as big as 100 hours of project. The support agent can cater for it. It will understand and analyze the ticket which has been raised by the end user. It will try to create a functional requirement from that. It will then solution it because it has access to your existing org metadata. It has access to architectural guidelines of Salesforce, our solution database. It will take all that into consideration to create that solution view here. And from that solution view, it will create the configuration workbook, exactly what you're doing for that ticket, and give you the cost estimation for that ticket as well. And if we have access to the user stories, it will also analyze, like, these are the documentations which are getting impacted for that particular change request. Right. So these were the 5 agents coming together to automate your end-to-end life cycle of implementation, Salesforce implementation. Now we will open the room for questions. I'll stop sharing my screen.
Yeah, we don't have any emojis here, but it's a virtual cap. I mean, the physical cap. It's very good. We were all in awe of your the whole comprehensive range of functionalities that you just showed. You wanted?
Yeah, I have a couple
Okay.
of questions.
There's someone in the room who wants to ask a question.
Hey, right? Yeah, Sri. Hey, I'm Sri. By the way, it was a great presentation. It was awesome. Yeah. So, a couple of questions. What is the technology behind it? Meaning, one thing that always sticks my mind is the licensing, right? So when it comes to the licensing, what kind of licensing somebody should have to do this one? And you're connecting the dots between multiple applications, and it is reading. And also, of course, Salesforce native, we do not give the entire data cloud license. You get a piece of it. So how do you, what kind of licensing is needed? And do we need the KB also, meaning the knowledge base also, and et cetera, et cetera? If you could throw some light on there.
So what we have done is we built the entire platform on AWS. We have integrated with a number of LLMs based on their specialization, including the Salesforce LLMs. and we have integrated with Salesforce for the metadata extract and the pushing out of the code and configuration to the sandbox. So there is no Salesforce licensing required to use this platform. It's a single licensing which covers all the LLM cost and all the other processing costs that happens. And it's a completely consumption-based licensing. So the more projects you deliver, the more your cost would be. And there is about a $6,000 per seat cost, which caters to about 20 to 30 end-to-end projects. If you need to deliver more projects than that, you can top up your credits.
Got you. Thank you. So does it also consider the Salesforce licenses, meaning the user and the permission levels, right? Like suppose, if I wanted to implement Salesforce Sales Cloud, for example.
Yep.
So I have the requirements, I got that answer, the question, answered here. So I have all the requirements, then, now I'm hitting Salesforce. I wanted Salesforce do the automation.
Yep.
So I need a set of licenses, and I have some existing licenses. Does it analyze at the beginning stage, meaning at the discovery stage itself, that, hey, guys, you have only 10 licenses, you may need additional 10 more licenses to procure, and so on and so forth, or?
Yeah. So the licensing part we haven't covered in our solutioning approach. What we have built the solutioning is on the Salesforce well-architected framework. So the step-by-step decision logic is completely aligned to the Salesforce architecture framework. The licensing, a lot of people have given feedback about also analyzing the type of licensing and then building the solution on those constraints. And that's something which is in the pipeline, but today it doesn't cater to that.
Gotcha. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So I had a question as well. So how does this tool cater to different strategies or different use cases so is it customizable as per different customers?
Absolutely. So there's the out of the box, which we just demo, but when we implement, it's an enterprise software. So, we don't expect individuals to sign up for it. It'll largely be small teams or mid-sized team. When we go to a client, we process all their knowledge base of previous proposals, previous estimates, previous submissions, case studies, and that grounds the RAG to the client. And then the project delivery methodology is also aligned to their way of delivering and their way of estimating. So it is a very customized implementation, which caters to the uniqueness of the way the company delivers the project.
Thank you. Anyone else wants? Okay. Yes, Stephen here would.
Oh, Stephen.
Okay. So I had a question regarding. Sorry about that. So my question is regarding the pre-sales agent that you demoed. I saw metadata was generated. I'm kind of curious, is that metadata supposed to be used for like demoing purposes before you actually get a contract? Is that just kind of for like, building out a demo org with the information you received at that point?
Yep. So the metadata is brought in to contextualize the.
Oh, maybe because.
Yeah. So the metadata is extracted and analyzed to contextualize the solutioning in light of the existing, org that is there. So ideally, the typical flow would be that you'll bring in all the information that you have from the client, you'll bring in the metadata, then you will do the initial solutioning, then you will find the gaps of questions that have not been answered. So you go back in front of the client or open up the platform for them to answer those questions again, and then you regenerate the entire solution. Then you sort of review and finalize. So that's the typical flow that will happen.
And actually. Actually, that's interesting because I was wondering about that because it won't go back and tweak existing metadata. Every time you need to make an update, you kind of have to redeploy the whole solution again. Is that correct?
So part of the build, I'll take that up, Amit. So the part of the build agent, when it's analyzing like the configurations which you're supposed to do at the back of new requirement, it caters for what you have to go and update in the existing orgs as well. So when we will actually deploy the deploy agent, which actually pushes information back to your Salesforce org metadata, it will also go and update the existing org as well as build a new thing. So it will cover for both.
Yeah, because that's usually the weak link with AI. It's great at generating new code, but evaluating existing code and making updates to existing code is quite a challenge still.
Yes.
So that's why I was curious. So you do what you're doing right now will kind of go back, evaluate the existing org data and update it, or does it again wipe it all out and regenerate a whole new package?
No, so it'll go and update it, and that's where we are leveraging these dev tools provided by Salesforce to do that job, because they are training their own LLMs on the best practices of writing code, right, and analyzing the existing org metadata in that space. So AgentForce for developers, CodeGen, XGen, ApexGuru, and CodeAnalyzer 5.0 will all come together to analyze your existing code and specify like what are the things you have to go and update.
As in the AI will generate the metadata, or you have to go in and manually update the metadata?
No, so AI will generate what you have to update in the metadata, and it will be on the human to just click a button once they're happy with it, and then it'll push it.
And then to recap again, your integrations with source control, you support the major platforms like GitHub, Bitbucket.
Yes.
And then it's like, I think that's where my question regarding licensing, is there any sort of license you have to go through the APIs to do that? Or is that automatic? I don't know how, like a lot of times this works, you know?
So all these APIs of this big enterprise platforms are absolutely free, right? So for example, Jira, we didn't have to pay for any API licenses for Jira. We are just pushing the information to their license. And if you're using Jira, you need a separate license for Jira.
Okay. But it piggybacks off your existing license, basically. If you have an API access, you'll be able to utilize your license. Okay.
Absolutely. Yes.
That's pretty amazing.
I have a question too. Can you also mute the volume? Hello, that was a great presentation. Can you share your screen, if that's okay? I would like to do the demo again.
Sure.
So for the BA one,
Yep.
so you have like all these different acceptance criteria that's just generated, right?
Yes.
So how does it determine like what to prioritize in the org? Because you're generating like 150 user stories, right?
Right. So what you can do is, in that case, if you go to the user stories view, you can see by releases, right? So you can add a new release and deprioritize things. So if you want to move things to backlog, you can do that as well. So we have a proper release management built in place where you can prioritize what you're doing in release 1 versus release 2.
And let's just read one of the user stories. So it says, can we click into one and let me just read it?
Yeah.
So it says, as a sales rep, I want incoming lead data to be automatically validated and enriched so that I can rely on accurate and complete lead information for effective follow-up. So my question is, yeah, and I see like validate. So does it pull from the metadata to try generating this user story, or?
No, so this is your new requirement, right? So this is getting pulled from the documents which you have provided.
Okay. So
right?
let's see the document again.
Sure. Let me download this. So
I
this
just
was
wanna
like one of the BRDs which I've created in terms of your requirements. So it's completely contextualized to your customer inputs.
Okay. I just want to
Yes.
see like what the actual document is, and then like how does it?
So this one might not be structured.
You can also zoom in on my computer. You can zoom in on my computer so that people can see. So you just zoom with a pinch, but you just pinch it.
Wait. In the document or on the screen?
Sorry, I was talking to someone in the room. You can go back to the document. Sorry.
Okay.
So okay, so can I just go to the top, I guess. So then
Mhm.
it's basically the different roles at the beginning, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
And then you have different epics,
Mhm.
and then basically, okay, so that's how it's basically doing that.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. Because
Yeah.
okay,
So requirements are on the inputs of the user, and it can be meeting notes, it can be your voice recordings, it can be the documents which you have captured during your discovery session with the customer. Metadata analysis comes in the solution piece, not on the requirements. So we have kept those two things absolute separate.
okay, that's cool. And then yeah, it's cool. And then it will get the entire metadata of the org,
Yes.
right?
Yes. Not entire. We have limited to 50 top metadata items, which generally a business analyst, architect, or consultant goes and validate. But we have flexibility to increase more. There are 220 items, metadata items, which Salesforce spits out in the package.xml, but we have limited it.
And have you had any challenges with like flow metadata, for example, or experience cloud metadata? Because I understand it's like sometimes hard to export that out.
Right. Let me show you one example of the flow. So, for example, if I go back here and go to metadata. So what we have done is we have also exported the XMLs which are provided by Salesforce, which makes it easier for us to understand what's happening underlying as well. So this was one of the flows, automation tool follow up for opportunity renewal. So it understands the metadata, XML, and then tries to stitch together a story for it, which makes it easy and readable for any customer. And if
All
you
right.
want to, yeah,
Yeah.
see the underlying XML, you have access to this as well.
Yeah. Because I'm just surprised it does a decent job because it's just based off of the XML, right?
Yes.
Because that's yeah, it's interesting that it can just do it. And it's like 1,000-line XML, right, on flows because
Absolutely.
it
Absolutely.
just generates such a big one. It's very verbose, is what I'm saying.
Absolutely. And this is where that's why I was saying it takes 30 to 40 minutes to process this entire metadata extract. But as you can see, each and every XML is like massive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. And then the LLM is able to handle it. Like, do you? Because I know you were saying a consumption model, right? So, like, do you charge per like amount of like input tokens, or is it just like
It's both input and output, but we have capped it. We have kept it fixed for our end users. It's on our cost. Yes.
okay, got it.
Yeah.
Yes.
One more question over there. So you can just create.
Can you just come here because it's a lot back.
So in the build agent, I'm kind of curious, when the metadata is generated, do you guys do like package-driven development, or does it generate a package, an unlock package, manage package? I mean, how is it? Is it just the metadata, then eventually a build manager has to package that up and deploy it? I'm kind of curious about that phase.
Right. So that's upcoming. So there are two ways of deployments. One is we will give flexibility to deploy directly into your Salesforce sandboxes using metadata API. So we are not doing the package for that. For pushing to IDs, yes, we will create a package and it will automatically push to your DevOps tools or IDs, and it will create that view in your own IDs as well.
So what is the end product that's generated right now at this point? Like when you've gone through all those different agents and you're ready for a deployment, what is generated at that point?
So it's right now we have not integrated back to your Salesforce. It's copy paste. So you can copy everything and just do it today. But in next 15 to 20 days, that's where I was talking about it's coming.
Can you show me that? Like, I'm kind of curious. So you just have, I mean, is it generating files, but you're saying copy and paste? I kind of need to have a better picture of what at that phase, what goes on.
Right. So right now what's live until today is this. So if I go to the build, and if I go build here and go to the design, so it's solving to the point that it is generating the low level summaries as well as exact configurations you are supposed to do, and the developer notes. So developer can go and read and start performing those actions.
But you did have an example of where metadata was generated, i.e. that XML. So where, I mean, I would assume that you also generate, other than Apex, obviously.
Yes.
But all
So
the
this one is coming soon, where it will take those instructions, generate the code, and you can hit deploy. So this was the screen I was showing, and this is coming soon.
okay.
And we are integrating back to all these.
You are generating the XMLs for the custom objects, fields, etc., right?
Yes, absolutely. So the idea is, right, if I go to metadata AI,
That was
and
pre-sales, right? And I believe that, was that from the pre-sales agent, or is that, where is that metadata tab? I'm kind of
every agent has the metadata. So I'm in the build agent. I have metadata access here as well. So I can see that this is my XML for the existing flow. Now see this one. So for example, if I go to the design agent, go to the implementation workbook, and just go to action type update, which means it has identified, go and update these existing elements. So this was update the record trigger flow on the campaign object. It has automatically identified what you have to go and update, and it's giving you the exact name what you have to update on the existing flow itself. So that's where it will understand that you have to go and use the existing flows instead of creating a new one to use the new configurations or to build the new configurations. And that's where we will go and update the existing metadata as well, because we have the XMLs too.
So can you show me an example of an end product XML for one of these user stories? So I'm assuming the user story is then associated with a feature branch. I mean, again, you said you're integrating with source control. So the typical process, you have a user story, then you create like a feature branch. That feature branch would have, various metadata generated, and then you would deploy that feature, into the node.
Correct. So it has generated to the point what feature you're pushing. It is not pushing today. That's the difference. That's what I'm saying.
Where is the end result metadata for that particular user story?
End result metadata for that.
Yeah, so like you have a user story there. Eventually that needs to be converted into some sort of metadata. I'm just kind of...
Yes. So this is all which has generated. It has assumed, it has identified what you're going to update. It's sitting in the backend. We have not exposed it to the UI yet because we are building it, testing it as we speak.
So the only places you're generating metadata right now is recap where you're making the metadata. I saw that you had an example of a flow, the custom objects.
That was not the metadata push. That's the metadata we have extracted from your org to understand what's happening in your inside the org. So this is existing org metadata. This is not new. This is like to understand what's
really
underlying.
Telling you what you have to develop. It's not developing.
Yes, correct. Because this is also important to understand what's underlying, right? Before you start building.
It's really cool. It's like taking a user story and generating the metadata that's going to need to be deployed.
That is coming as well. That's what I'm saying. That's coming in next release. So it will, against the user story, it will give you code like this.
Oh, that's great. I'd be very interested at that point.
Yes.
Out of curiosity, like, how's it going? Look.
Sorry, we could hear half of the question.
Sorry, yeah. Out of curiosity, like, is there metadata that's more challenging to generate than other metadata? Like, are you experiencing, like, say if you're trying to generate a flow versus an Apex class or custom field or object, like what is the difficulty, like, do you think?
Right. So I think you hit the right nail here. So we are first targeting Apex and LWCs because Salesforce's XGen and CodeGen has solved for it. Creating the metadata is much more difficult compared to the code, right? In the metadata, we are only targeting the metadata's XMLs, which are old and the LLMs have been trained on. So for example, fields, objects, reports, the LLMs have been trained on a lot of information which was pre-existing. For the new metadata, we are not touching it. So for example, data cloud metadata, AgentForce metadata, LLMs have not been trained. Unless Salesforce trains those LLMs, we are not touching it, especially on the XMLs. And the documentation for XMLs is very weak as well, as we all know, right? And what we have realized is every XML is different as well. So Salesforce has not done a fab job in terms of documenting and creating the XMLs which are absolute structured in a way. Right. So we're only tapping to the XMLs which are old, which have been static, and LLMs have been trained on. That's one. Second is the complete code base, which is fairly easy. Even your GPT 4.0 and 01 are doing 70-80% accuracies in showing 70%, 80% accuracies in terms of JavaScripts, in terms of Apex code. So we'll be tapping into that definitely. And plus Salesforce have their own LLM. And then as LLMs keep progressing through training on the new metadata which Salesforce is launching, we will keep enabling that support as well.
Nice. Yeah, this is like really exciting stuff.
Do they have a free
Absolutely.
version that we can experiment with?
Yeah, we'll be getting one license. We'll put in for nonprofit. So you can, so they'll be giving us one license. So then we'll put in our nonprofit. You can connect with Shiva and you can demo it out.
Play around with it.
Yeah, we'll see. All right. Yeah, just let me ask one question about it. I said, all the people asking questions, why not give you a little bit more? So when you go down for the implementation time, right? Okay, hey, we understand the whole thing is there. Now you said it's customized implementation now, you said, right? I believe. So how will that work, the whole process? Like how much time does it take? And I understand you'll have to take like how many documents you need to feed in, like, hey, request for proposals, or there might be some small forms. And who's actually is the end user of this stuff? Is the solutions like the consulting companies, right? Kind of thing, right? That's why understanding is, right? And what size you're aiming and targeting at, right?
So the typical implementation process, again, depends on the size of the end consulting companies. We have users who have as few as 50 consultants to as big as 500 consultants. And typically the process is their knowledge base, we look at everything that could ground our platform on. So that could mean previous proposals, previous estimation sheets. And then once that has been ingested by the AI, they need to do a quick review of what the AI's interpretation of the estimation is, plus the project methodology. So that needs to be configured. That probably takes maybe half a day to configure according to their product methodology. And then some client-specific templates, they might be using certain templates or branding in their output generation. So it could be as short as maybe 3-4 days to as long as a month, depending on the size of the company.
Okay, so not that long kind of thing.
Yeah.
Sure. All right, thanks.
Yeah, I had questions. So is SaaSGuru, I've done a lot of SaaSGuru courses for sharing and visibility, Sales Cloud. Are you coming up with any courses for learning agentic AI?
So we had a few boot camps which were in person, instructor-led boot camps in that area, which are ongoing. On the content side, we're really needing to create a few more content in the AgentForce area, along with a revamp of the existing content. So it's like a constant process of regeneration, because so much has changed with Salesforce in the last 3-4 months. We are really under the pump in terms of making everything up to date. So we are doing our best, and most of it is still up to date. There's probably more need for AgentForce related content creation and the revamp of certain certifications which have changed recently.
So how long did it take you to build this?
We've been building this for close to a year now. We went live about 4 months ago, but it was a long process, and I think because we've been consultants in our past life, we're able to think of the experience of a consultant and how they would like to use a platform. The current UI of just a chat-based interaction with every agent, it's good, but it's very frustrating at the same time when you're delivering a very large, complex project end to end. So that's how we are trying to solve it. But it's been a year-long journey so far.
Nice. So where can people access this AI tool? If somebody was asking in the room too.
So, we're happy to give one trial license for the group. It can be used by anyone, or you guys can create ID and everyone can try it if you want.
Yeah, we will. Of course, but other than that one license, is there how do they access it? Say,
We are only selling to B2B users right now, not individuals, because of the cost and of course of the process. So individuals can try it out. We can enable them with a trial license for 2 weeks for them to get excited and maybe champion this to their organizations. So we can definitely look at that on a case-by-case basis.
okay. And otherwise, what's the pricing?
So the pricing is 6,000 US dollars per seat, which comes with all the agents, and it comes with 5 user licenses and 5 viewer licenses, because you might open up a project to your end customers, for your teams, for review, etc. So that amount of credit can cater to up to 20 to 30 medium-sized projects, and then you can top up the credits as you need. So on an average, cost of a project works out to about $100 to $200 if you are using everything end to end.
So do you think it's replacing the human?
It's not replacing the human, but the way most companies are using it, it's like a collaboration workspace, their team and the agents all working together. The velocity increases, the scale increases, but still there is a lot of hallucination. Their team needs to review everything, and that probably is still 20 to 30% of effort that's required from their side.
Yes, there is always that phase of adoption, and there's testing, the teething phase
Absolutely.
of adoption. Like there's SQL injections, there's, all those prompt injections, etc., that we hear about. But yeah, you might have all done all the defense against everything, I believe.
Absolutely, and of course, I mean, for us, it's a constant process of improving the platform. Every 2 weeks, we have a release. There's so much changing on the LLMs front also, which gives us more options and more firepower.
So, any prerequisites organization should have before they adopt your tool?
I think just openness of adopting this platform end to end, because the more piecemeal they make their usage, the less value it can bring to them. So there's a bit of change involved in this, and we're constantly enabling those organizations with a lot of hand holding. So size doesn't matter. It could be even just be a 5 people company doing a couple of $1 million of revenue. It's really the drive to adopt it end to end.
Right. And so you do the enablement. How do you do it? Is there a documentation tool, or how do you do the enablement?
Yeah, we have a customer success team. So for the first month or so, we help on a specific user basis with a dedicated customer success team member, and then it's on a need basis. So we help them with the first few projects end to end across individuals and across teams.
Okay. Yeah, are you using agents to do enablement? Like, for instance, the frequently asked questions?
I mean, for us, the customer success is still a very human-driven process. But in the future, as we scale, agents have a huge role to play there.
Mm-hmm. Right. I think I asked a ton of questions. Is anyone else feeling curious?
I think we're good now.
Okay, yeah. Okay. So, virtual guys, we were very quiet. So, up to, I believe you guys. So, Amit, you want to throw out that challenge?
Yeah, I think this instead of spinning a wheel or just asking one question, I thought I'll give a challenge to the group, and it'll require probably an hour of work to do that research, and the output would be a small table, and we can publish it from our social handle as well as a blog on our website. We have almost 100,000 visitors every month. So the challenge is really this. I'll just share my screen. I've been trying to solve this challenge for a while now. It keeps changing. So, what we would like the team to do is, solve the Salesforce AI dev tool maze. So there are 4 tools right now which are in GA, which is CodeBuilder, CodeAnalyzer, AgentForce for developers, and Einstein for flows. That's their last known name. The names might have changed already in the last couple of weeks or months. So I just want a small table which says the tool name, what it does in a layman term, their licensing prerequisite, and the licensing cost, if you can find it. We have tried hard. And
I like that.
This is a genius challenge.
Just came out of TDX out of hackathon. Oh, yeah. So this is a continuation to that, I believe. So
This is an absolute genius challenge because it's really hard to find. It's like a
unsolvable. but
that's
yeah,
a challenge.
would love to hear from you guys. We'll take it to the next step of publishing as a blog and an infographic from our side, and of course the certification voucher. So
You're making us work for it.
Okay, is everyone going to try doing it?
Or you can go and try AgentForce on help, Salesforce help section.
that's very good at just deferring to links without answering anything specifically.
I guess they don't have their laptops.
So how would they can't do it? It'll take about 1 hour. It takes some time to do it right now. So
Yeah, I think it's probably a challenge to take away and not to solve right away, I would say.
Okay, I have a challenge for everyone too. Sorry about challenging everyone. We are into the night here, so people want to slow down, not wake up. So here, so the challenge I have is, let me just share my screen.
So I'm going to do this challenge to give a little bit of okay.
Yeah, mine is relatively simple. I'll just share screen. All right. I hope everybody's alert, and because you need to be alert to do this. Okay. So what are 4 ways to configure agent action? Please send your answers in the chat. Virtual guys and the in-person people can also participate. 4 ways to configure agent action. Anyone? Pardon me? What did you say? Yes.
Apex now in the API.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I guess one person has to say
And there's one more. So you said Flow, Prompt Builder, Apex, and which is the 4th? No. So Agent Builder comes for the. No. Okay. Okay. Arena said standard actions, custom actions with Flow, Apex, Prompt Builder, templates. There's 4th one. We already had one person say those 3. Yes. Okay. Now
You got a winner?
so we have like 2 who have answered and Arena, but because he answered first and he completed the question.
I did the completed one.
no, the person who started first because they take initiative first.
Now, okay, why don't I ask another question and let's see them. Okay. Also, another thing, you guys, whoever wins, you have to add couple of takeaways from today's meeting and post it on social and tag us. San Ramon, SFDC. What's
That
that?
works too, yeah. Yeah, we can bounce it, that works too.
Yeah, that's a bonus. But yeah, all right. So the other question is this one. Also, these are the 4 ways. See, look at the drop down: Apex, API, flow, and prompt template. So that's the answer. The second question is, TDX is expanding globally. Which 3 areas is TDX going to be held?
Anyone in the room can raise a hand.
Three.
Okay, go ahead. Okay,
All right. Yeah, this was from the presentation. So
you said 3 all? I don't know.
somebody said from here, right? Who said? You said?
Okay.
Tokyo, Bangalore. What's the third one?
Yes. Okay.
No.
I think. Who's dancing?
Oh, we can rock, paper, scissors for this, please.
Okay. Well, yeah, I mean, you are saying here, but we already had here in person, people already said it. So, yeah, and we have only 1 voucher to give away because the other one is Amit's
Special
awesome
voucher.
challenge, which will make you stay up the night. So,
Not the hackathon, right?
but it will be amazing when you get it. So, okay. So anyway, we'll decide here in person who's getting, because they said it first and they answered 2 questions. So that's it for us from for today. And we are good on time. Anyone else wants to share some nice stories about TDX and how they enjoyed it? Any good reflections, those who attended? Hi, Ella, I see you. Meena, hi. I didn't see you before, but I now see you.
Hi, hi.
Hi, Ella. Nice to see you here. Hi, John. John, you want to speak up and tell us about your reflections? I saw you in TDX.
The one thing that I like is the agent consultation where it's voice activated. The simulator asks me a question, what use case do you want? So I say, create a case for me. And then they ask me a bunch of questions. And then I give them the criteria. And then when it's all done, somehow magically they do a bunch of stuff and DX, and then it brings up all the agents in front of me, and then say, oh, you can play around for free. So I was like, oh, using voice activated to create agent, everything. That's cool, man. So yeah.
Krish is asking.
John, what industry did you go for?
Industry?
Yep. Yeah, so what happened was we tried it out too. So we had to say, okay, hey, so I say, what's the name of the company? You start with, it's a very interesting one, John. We also tried it out. So we just gave the website. We say, hey, we are from BMW. So we went down and scrapped the website for BMW.
Oh.
And then it kind of creates automatically, it knows what your business is, kind of thing. And then it starts creating the agent because it knows what you are, right? What you're asking for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, mine is Service Cloud. So,
but that's why, like, we tried it twice. So the first time we gave a wrong website and say, oh, it doesn't really work. Then we say, oh, because he explained that, okay, you have to give a kind of context to it. And that's why then we gave, hey, we are BMW. Then went to the website and made an agent for us.
Okay, I know some people have to drop off. So Amit dropped off. So bye, Amit. And Meena, bye. Have a good night. All right, so now let's have a great night, everyone. And from those from Australia, have a good rest of your day.
Thanks, guys. Lovely meeting you all.